Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Centerville's 2018 State of the City Address and comments by City Council and our new City Manager. I am Brooks Compton, Mayor of the City of Centerville, and I welcome you here this evening. I think we have good news to tell you tonight about how the city's progressing and look forward to those comments. We're going to do something a little bit different with respect to some presentations from a PowerPoint presentation, so we're going to work this in a little bit. It's a little bit different this year, but 2018 will be a gold and cheerful Centerville year as the city celebrates its 50th year as a city on December 2nd, 2018. So we'll start tonight, as has been our tradition in the past, during the State of the City Address, that each council member would come up, talk a couple minutes about some of the projects and the interests that they have with respect to council and their involvement in the community, and a little bit about their family. So at this time, I'm going to ask Belinda Kenley, our Deputy Mayor, to come up. Belinda, always good to work with you.
Good evening. It's really been an honor to serve the citizens of Centerville as a member of City Council since I took office in January of 2008. Can't believe it's been 10 years. I've had a wonderful time working with a really professional group of our city staff and also the elected officials. We work together so well, and I just enjoy every moment of it. I really appreciate the confidence that our citizens and my fellow council members have shown in me by electing me as deputy mayor, and look forward to working with all of you for another 2 years. For those of you who don't know us, my husband Robert and I live on Luntshire Court in the Shires off of Bigger. We've had a number of homes in Centerville over the past 30 years, and we raised our daughter Emily Riddle in the school district. I work full-time for a company called Energy Optimizers USA, which is an energy services company in Tip City. My role as Vice President of Business Development and Marketing takes me all over Ohio, as our primary customers are local governments and schools. I worked for many years for the Attorney General of Ohio and Auditor of State Betty Montgomery, and that gave me a real solid background in local government. I currently serve on several council committees, including the Environmental Committee, Intergovernmental Relations, Neighborhood Relations, Streets and Highways, and also serve as liaison to the Dayton Development Coalition. However, my main focus recently has been as chair of the Mayor's Business Advisory Task Force. It's a group that's really near and dear to my heart. And council members Joanne Rao and John Beals also serve on this task force. This is a group of about 8 to 10 business owners or managers that we meet 3 to 4 times a year, and we've been doing this for about the past 4 years. We've had some great discussions about meeting the needs of the business community and making our city one in which business owners want to locate and want to thrive. A couple of the things that we've been able to help with are signage regulations for the historic APD district, what I think of as the heart of Centerville. And we've also been able to change some of our regulations which would allow food trucks one Friday night a month throughout the summer, which draws big crowds of people downtown and makes our heart of Centerville area a very vibrant and fun place to be on a summer night. Working with city staff, we listen to the needs of the business community and try to figure out ways to help them in any way that we can, including connecting them to outside resources to make sure that they get their needs met. On May 16th, the mayor will host his annual Business Appreciation Breakfast at Yankee Trace. This is a great opportunity for business owners or their managers to network with other businesses, hear an update from the city, and also get updated about current events. You'll see an announcement in the town crier, and you can contact the city to register for that. I'm big on social media. Anybody who knows me personally knows that I love Facebook and Twitter, and I use it to promote the businesses in our community. Often on the weekends, I'm visiting different businesses, supporting the restaurants and shops, and I always like to post a positive news story about each of them. So feel free to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and you're always welcome to call or email with any questions or issues that you have. Again, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Belinda. Mr. Beals, John Beals.
Thank you, Brooks, and good evening to all. My wife Sally and I have lived on the east side of Centerville for the years since 1965. So you see, we go back quite a long way. We have raised three children there, each through the Centerville school system, and they have blessed us with three grandchildren. I bring to the council quite a lengthy history of our city before and after it actually became a city, so whatever advantage that is. I am serving in my 11th year on council after retiring from my civil engineering firm in 2007. As an owner and manager of that civil engineering design firm, I experienced a lot of projects that are very similar to the ones that confront us here in Centerville Council. Having that experience has been a great help. I am a professional engineer and registered land surveyor in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. I have lots of experience in working with many governments in their projects of design and construction. My experience also is in land surveying and in preparation of land descriptions, plats, and land transfers to meet county requirements. I represent our city to the Centerville, Washington Recreation Board, the Sister City Committee, and the Stormwater Drainage Review Committee, where I serve as chairman. Last month, I was elected to first vice president of Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, where I have represented the city of Centerville for all of my 11 years on council. And if everything goes right, as of January 1st, I'll be selected as chair of that group. Miami Valley Regional is a very important to our city, as to all the communities of our three-county region. All federal dollars that flow into our region must gain approval from this regional planning organization before they're committed. Doug Spittler, who is in our audience tonight, is our Public Works Director, and he deserves a lot of credit for pushing Centerville projects through the regional planning organization's processes. We have been receiving our fair share due to the work of Doug Spittler. With the growth of traffic at the Wilmington Pike and I-675 intersection, we are in line for a major federal funded project for the upgrade of that intersection. That would include the ramps with more capacity and safety, a bridge replacement to provide for additional turn lanes underneath, and they're integral to that upgrade. The project is a few years in a way, a little bit more in advance, but thanks to Doug, we are well positioned to receive that project funding. Now, each of our council members take great interest in the projects and concerns that come in front of us, but I am particularly interested in several areas: the enlargement of our recycling program, the maintenance and improvements of our city streets, storm drainage systems, and lighting, our bikeways and multi-use paths, and our small businesses and economic development. Thank you.
Mr. Pulcher, John Pulcher.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome, everybody, this evening. First of all, I would like to thank the citizens of Centerville for another 4 years. Okay? Great election last fall unopposed, but it's really nice, I say, outstanding opportunity to serve with a great staff we have here in the city and other council members with a great leader as mayor. Family background, my wife Aurelia, been married for 22 years. We live out on Yankee Trace. Got a daughter by the name of Jennifer, lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and works for the University of North Carolina. And my son, lives down in Cincinnati, and he works for a Japanese company down in Walton, Kentucky. Credentials, background, out of college, I went to work for Roadway Express, worked for them for a couple of years, Texas Instruments for 3 years, Daco Corporation for 24 years, and in 40 months for Goshen Rubber up in Goshen, Indiana. Various levels of supervision, planning background, profit planning background, and just about anything else they threw at you if you had a salary position. Graduated from Pittsburgh State University in Pittsburgh, Kansas, Bachelor of Science Business Administration, and a minor in accounting. My involvement in the city, recently formed a finance committee, which Bill Sayre and John Bills also serves on. We work with the staff, and our intention is to help implement this strategic plan from finance, keeping the council informed of what's going on in any economic issue that comes forward. I'm also involved with the Arts Commission. Jim Collins is the chair for that, and they're put on a number of events throughout the year that citizens have an opportunity to take advantage of if they so choose. I also work as a liaison for the Board of Architectural Review, and Ed Ross is the chair there, primarily dealing with the historical district downtown Centerville. My other involvement would be I'm also an alternate to Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, Transportation. John Bills is the regular representative for the city there, and I am the alternate. With that, I will sit down and move on. Take care.
Thank you, John. Bill Sayre.
Good evening. I'm Bill Sayre. I am beginning my third year on the council, having spent the last 2 years as filling out an unexpired term as an appointed member, and having been elected this past November, now in the first year of a 4-year term. It is a great time to be part of the city council. I think we are particularly energized by the opportunity for a startup with a new city manager, and are engaged in a new strategic plan for the city. I should tell a little bit about myself. I've been in this general region for about 42 years and have lived for the last 25 years in the city of Centerville, and I have worked for the last 30 years in the city of Centerville. And my wife grew up in Washington Township, who graduated from the Centerville schools many, many years ago. We've been married 37 years. We've raised 3 children, all products of the Centerville schools. They're all in their 30s now. And it's been a great city for both living and working. We live in the Cheltenham subdivision, and we've lived there for 25 years. And I am by profession an attorney, and I serve as the Chief Executive Officer of Graceworks Lutheran Services. My office is at one of our operations, Bethany Village, in Centerville. I thought I would use my brief time this evening to highlight some of the excellent services that residents of the city receive from our city staff. The services provided by our Public Works Department are probably most obvious to residents because they maintain and repair our roads, clear our snow, place salt during bad weather, and provide our waste disposal and recycling services. One of our very important services, though, is perhaps less obvious because most of us are naturally motivated to stay clear of the police whenever possible. But I am very proud of our Centerville Police Department. And although they are in the midst of a leadership transition, they are not missing any beats. And I'm in somewhat of a unique position to observe their work because I'm the chief executive of a major business that has more than 600 employees in the city and 700 residents in the city, many of whom have unique needs. So many unique circumstances arise when police are called upon for their counsel or response. And I cannot think of a single occasion when they have not risen to provide whatever service is needed. Their professionalism and quality of service shines brightly. And I think programs like the Citizens Police Academy, the Coffee with a Cop, or their interactive summer program with children at Chevy Chase Apartments are great examples of their proactive engagement with citizens. And the school resource officers provide a valuable service in keeping our students safe in our Centerville schools. Recently, the police department provided for 13 employees at Bethany Village a active shooter resistance training, teaching them the principles of run, hide, fight. And this is a service that's offered throughout the city to anybody who requests it. So I'm very, very keen on the work of all of our employees, but especially of the police department. My work on the council involves membership on the finance and economic development committees. I'm also the representative of the city to a collaborative group called First Suburbs, which represents all the non-Dayton communities in Montgomery County, and I also serve on the executive committee of that body. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Now, Joanne Rao.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm Joanne Rao, and in January I began my second term on City Council. I want to thank you for allowing me to serve you for another 4 years. I also want to thank my loving husband, Steve, for his never-ending support. A little about me. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I moved to Centerville, actually to Dayton, to work for the DOE Mound in Miamisburg. And then from there, that's where I met my husband, Steve. And in 1986, we moved our young family to the Centerville Black Oak South neighborhood, where we still reside today. And we moved here because of the great schools and the great property values at the time that I still believe are great property values today, as well as just the overall quality of the area and the amenities provided by this area. So we are just extremely pleased to live here and plan to do so for some years to come. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from The Ohio State University and a master's in environmental science from the University of Cincinnati. For the last 11 years, I have worked for the Dayton Power and Light Company, primarily through the parent company, which is AES, supporting their U.S. Operations, mostly power plants and that sort of thing. And my role there was as an environmental manager, mostly in the legal department, auditing and assisting with permits and those types of things. But it was actually a member of being on the Planning Commission for a short time that brought me to City Council. Planning Commission was a great background for learning how the city operates, learning how the ordinances are laid out, and actually how to debate and consider projects. So I consider that really my foremost education prior to coming on City Council. I strongly recommend it for anybody interested in future public service. We have 3 children, Lynn, Katie, and Matt, who attended Centerville schools. They all went to college and are leading successful lives elsewhere, unfortunately. Their dreams and families took them from Centerville. My daughters are both in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, in Oregon and Washington. And my son is teaching at Penn State, although I still root for Ohio State, my alma mater. And we have 2 grandchildren who are also in Oregon. So we spend a lot of time on FaceTime and at the post office, as you can imagine. So I represent the council on various committees and commissions, including the Economic Development Committee, the Bicycle Committee, and the Environmental Committee. And I assist with the City Beautiful Commission, which just had a very successful seminar on growing grass and trying to successfully, grow that grass and get, a nice green lawn, something that is a challenge for many of us with a heavy clay backyard. So I learned a lot that day. I also am the current chair of the Miami Valley Communications Council, which is currently working on the broadband fiber optic network that will link many of our cities in the southern suburbs, Oakwood and Kettering and the Kettering schools and Centerville and Miamisburg and Miami Township. So we're looking forward to that ring being up and running, maybe by the end of the year. Cross your fingers. That will be a wonderful economic development tool for the community, so we're looking forward to that. I just wanted to mention that working with local government is wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. We are nonpartisan, which is actually in our charter, and that allows us to work together as a team and to focus on those issues that are going to implement or impact our community. And, I strongly recommend it. It is extremely rewarding. We have professional staff. We have professional folks on council. Each member brings their own unique background and diverse opinions to our meetings, and we have lovely conversations. We don't always agree, which is the way it should be. So I'm just very pleased, and I look forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Now, Mark Engert, who we refer to as our social chairman.
Thank you, Brooks. My name is Mark Engert, and I'm beginning my third year on Centerville City Council. I've lived in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood for 18 years, and we're represented tonight by Mr. Jim Gallagher. Thanks, Mr. Gallagher, for coming. I've been married to my wife for 28 years, Denise, who's a teacher in the Centerville Public Schools for 30 years. I have two daughters, Christina and Carolyn, with Christina just graduating from Ohio University and Carolyn wrapping up her junior year. My professional side, I work for Stryker Orthopedics on the logistics side. I'm very excited to work this year with the 50th anniversary of Centerville becoming a city. It's going to be a great, fun year, which is right up my alley. Like to have a lot of fun. Council and Wayne, look forward to working with you guys this year. It's going to be a fun time to be a part of the celebration. I am on the Bicycle Committee and the Centerville Washington Township History Committee. I also look forward to working with some other government agencies, the Washington Township Fire Department, Sugar Creek Township, and Washington Township, as we move forward, coming together a little bit and working a little bit closer together on some projects of interest for everybody. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
As you can see, and those who are watching the videotape or the live presentation of the state of the city, we have an outstanding council. I echo the comments that all have made, that we enjoy each other's company, we work hard together, we bring wide experience, varied experience to our council meetings, and it's extremely helpful for a meaningful and professional discussion with professional management and staff. Before I call Wayne up here, I just wanted to make a couple personal comments about my background. This is 90 years of combined good news for my wife and I, 50 years for the city of Centerville's anniversary, and this is our 40th year of being married. So Ruth is back there in the back, and she's put up with me for 40 years, so that's worth some applause. But we live in Rose Estates. We moved here in 1979. We both graduated from Ohio Northern University. We moved, as I say, to Rose Estates in 1984 after living at Revere Village for 5 years. We raised two boys through the Centerville school system. Our older son, Chris, and daughter-in-law, Jamie, live here in Centerville, as do our two 6.5-year-old granddaughters, twin granddaughters, and our 1.5-year-old son. Our younger son was educated through Centerville High School, like our older son, and Ohio University, and he went down to North Carolina, and he works for North Carolina State University. So we are extremely fortunate to have raised our kids here in Centerville, and extremely fortunate to have my wife with me tonight and for the 40 years. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our new city manager for a couple comments before we do the full state of the city. Wayne Davis.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council. Again, my name is Wayne Davis, and I was appointed as city manager of this fantastic community on August 21st, 2017, and we have not looked back since. I actually came to Centerville from the city of Montgomery. I worked in the city of Montgomery as finance director, assistant city manager, and manager for 17 years, and goes back to a conversation I had with City Council down in Montgomery back in 2014 that led me to where I am this evening. I talked to City Council and I said, I would never leave Montgomery unless the job as the city manager of Centerville opened up. And lo and behold, it did, and I'm very blessed to be here this evening. My wife is Kate. She and I live just off of Yankee Trace, and she's tasked with a Herculean task of trying to keep me in line at least for the majority of the hours per day. So it's almost an impossible task, but she does well with that. One of the first tasks that we undertook at City Council when I came aboard was to look into the possibility of putting in place a strategic plan. On October 14th, we met in a retreat. And then again, on March 3rd, we met in a follow-up retreat to begin laying out the goals for this community for the next 5 years. The goal areas are, and I know that Mayor Compton will address this in his State of the City address, but they are planning, economic development, finance, core services, infrastructure and housing, and technology. Those are the 6 goal areas that we plan to work on to move this community forward for the next 5 years into 2022 and 2023. I've had the blessing to work with professionals on city staff, and they are very professional. They have outstanding capacity. One of the things that we're focusing on is working on professional development to enhance the capacity, the skill set that they have. I would like to single out Doug Spittler, as he's been singled out a couple of times already, but Doug was the first Centerville staff member to go down to the Commonwealth Center for High Performance Organizations at the University of Virginia. We're very fortunate that City Council has approved and authorized us to make this expenditure, but I think Doug would talk to you about the leadership lessons that he learned, I think the self-introspection, and how we plan to apply it to the services that we deliver here at the City of Centerville. Doug will be followed up by Sergeant Mike Yoder, who will be the second City of Centerville staff member who will be attending this great educational and professional development opportunity. Over the past 7 months, 7 months flies by, we have had the retirement and then the transition of 2 key staff members here from the City of Centerville staff. A retirement of Bruce Robertson, police chief, 40 years here at the city. Wasn't police chief for all of those 40 years, but he has served the city for 40 years. We'll certainly miss Bruce, but also we have a replacement, at least on an interim basis in place with Matt Brown, who's done a fantastic job with that. We also had the transition of our human resources manager, Jennifer Wilder. Jennifer Wilder, after 12 years with the city, left for a similar position in the city of Oakwood. We miss both Bruce and Jennifer dearly. However, tomorrow will be the first day on board for Jennifer's replacement. It will be Jennifer Brumby. We kept the same name, first name, not the last name. So we're looking forward to Jennifer Brumby coming in to carry on the fine work that was completed by Jennifer Wilder over the years. And then finally, I'd just like to say thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to all of our constituents out there, citizens, businesses, and visitors to the great city of Centerville. And I will turn it back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for being here tonight for the State of the City. On December 2nd in 1968, the village of Centerville became the incorporated city of Centerville. And on the monitor there is the proclamation that came from the Secretary of State that told us after the November election in 1968 that we had 30 days to become a city. And the council acted, and we did become a city on that date. And even though the world, our country and Centerville, is vastly different from what it was in 1968, our city is still that great place to live, work, raise a family, open a business, and retire. And even with all of the changes since first being settled, becoming a village, and then a city in 1968, Centerville residents have never forgotten who came before us, what they did to make this a great place, the historical significance of what they accomplished, and what they have given us that makes this the special place that we call home. I just wanted to show one quick picture of what it used to look like a few years back. That's our police department. 220 years ago, Centerville was settled, and the long journey to 2018 began, and we are here today. As the mayor of Centerville, working with a tremendous council, a hardworking staff, and a generous, warm, and cheerful community. I am pleased to report that during our 50th year as a city, the state of the city of Centerville is excellent. Since we last gathered for the state of the city in 2017, a lot has changed for the people who serve the citizens of Centerville and Centerville at large. Greg Horn, our city manager for 25 years, retired after a job well done. The respect this council, staff, and the community have for his service is reflected in the dedication of the road into Yankee Trace, now known as Greg Horn Way. If you get a chance to see that, it indicates our respect for Greg. When Greg retired, we knew that the change would be coming with his retirement. All of us on council and the staff recognized the importance of a professional city manager and his or her impact on the city's well-being. Losing Greg's expertise and his historical knowledge of the city was not going to be easy to replace. A thorough national search was conducted, and we are confident that Centerville has an outstanding new city manager for the next many years in Wayne Davis. Wayne, we're glad you're here. As Wayne indicated, he came from Montgomery, Ohio, and he's brought to Centerville an extensive professional city manager experience and financial background that will keep Centerville at the top in both aspects of all communities. Wayne started in August, and we are extremely pleased with his work with council and staff. During his short tenure to date, Wayne has been working with council, as he indicated, to create and implement a 5-year strategic plan and budgeting model for the city. Wayne probably will not be here for 25 years, but we are confident that he will be here a long time, and the city will be well served by his professionalism and forward-thinking strategies he brings to the city of Centerville. We are pleased that he accepted the offer that was made back in June or July to have him accept as our city manager. Wayne, thanks for being here. Last year at this time, we had Chief Bruce Robertson, was the chief of our police. Just recently, he was retired. Chief Robertson spent 40 years in the service to the city of Centerville, through his work starting as a police cadet and ending with his professional service as police chief since 2011. All of us as Centerville residents know and respect the work that he did on their behalf. We all recognize that Centerville residents respect, and we can argue without rebuttal, and we don't need to argue, but without rebuttal, that Chief Robertson did much to enhance the relationship of the Centerville Police Department with all of the Centerville residents and our businesses. We are grateful to the chief for playing a huge part in making Centerville's first 50 years a city successful and a great place to be. We thank him for his service. As Wayne Davis indicated, Lieutenant Matt Brown is serving as interim chief of the police department, and we have the utmost confidence in his handling the department. We have a new Jennifer coming on board as our HR, but we miss our old Jennifer Wilder. As Wayne indicated, Jennifer was with the city for about 13 years. She was an assistant to the city manager. She took on the added responsibility and get her certification as a human resource manager. And for the life of us, we can't understand why she left to go to Oakwood. I just can't understand that. But like Greg and Bruce, we miss Jennifer also. Now to the issues that drive and have driven council in our work sessions, our meetings, our retreats, meetings with citizens, and our formal meetings. While the issues that council face vary from year to year, our primary responsibility is to take action and put policies in place that will continually offer services which sustain and improve the quality of life, which brings individuals to live here and businesses to locate here. Centerville, if you're once here, we want them to enjoy what's offered to the city of Centerville, and we want you to stay here. High-quality services is what council and staff work to attain. And see, these are some of the kids that enjoy those high-quality services. We simply can't say it enough, that if you're not a resident or business in Centerville today, consider coming here. Take a look to what we have to offer. We're convinced you will like what you see. If you are a resident, we want you to have the services that support the quality of life that you as Centerville residents demand and need, not just today, but for the future of Centerville. And there's your future of Centerville right there. And if you love it here, as we do, spread the word. You are Centerville's best marketing tool. 39 years ago, my wife and I came to Centerville, and we moved in 1984 to Rose Estates. We had 2 boys. We raised our family in Centerville. Our son, like most everyone around, kids around here, played in sports in the Centerville Washington Parks, learned about Centerville history through what was then known as the Historical Society, learned the ropes of babysitting through the Washington Township Fire Department, courses that they offered. And then from the Washington Centerville Library, they read books constantly during the summer and through the year. And finally, they got a first-class education from Centerville schools, which sent them off well-prepared for college and their successful careers. As I mentioned, our younger son's in North Carolina, works at North Carolina State University with skills he developed at Centerville High School and Ohio University. And our older son, Chris, and our daughter-in-law, he graduated from Wright State University. They live in Centerville with our now twin 6.5-year-old granddaughters and our 1.5-year-old grandson. Our granddaughters attend Primary Village North, kind of starting the tradition that all of us have done in this community. My family's history is like my fellow council members. It's a tribute to our community that almost all of your council members raised their families here in Centerville. We've lived here for many years. We've all participated in activities, and we continue to participate in activities that are offered by our Centerville community partners. All of us who raised our families here had their children attend Centerville schools, and we're all very pleased with that. So it is clear that the goal of providing that quality of life known as Centerville is not accomplished solely by council and the policies that we advance or the actions by staff in implementing the policies that we advance. We need great partners, and Centerville has them. We have great civic volunteers, and the many volunteers who serve on Centerville boards and commissions help the city out every day with very little, if any, public recognition. They are a great asset to the city. Thank you, the volunteers and the board members, for all you do. There's just a couple pictures of our civic volunteers. Centerville Schools. Superintendent Tom Henderson, the school board, and the entire school system successfully deliver outstanding educational opportunities for Centerville students. We know, and we talk about this often in our council meetings, that the Centerville school system is a major reason and a major consideration why people moving to Centerville or locate their business in Centerville. The Centerville Washington Park District adds an essential element to the quality of life for us. All of us have used the parks and participate in the parks and appreciate what value they bring to the city. Our libraries. Kim Ferris has worked hard to make Centerville more attractive for our residents with the many varied and useful programs provided at the Woodburn and Centerville libraries. We are looking forward to the new expanded Woodburn Library, which I believe is going to open later this year, if I'm correct. They do great work. The Washington Township Fire Department. As Bill mentioned about the Centerville Police Department, the Washington Township Fire Department is a critical safety service for our community. And we are very respectful of and appreciate the hard work that Chief Gall and his fellow firefighters put into their efforts on behalf of the entire community. And then we have Centerville Washington history. Steve Feverston, Vicki Bondi, and all of the Centerville Washington history members keep us up to date on our historical connections, which are so important and valued in this community. And we have a great services provided by the city and the staff. We have a tremendous police department. Bill mentioned that. Centerville has the finest police department around, which has the respect and support of council, but more importantly, the respect and support of Centerville citizens. First responder training, national accreditation, a local 24-hour emergency dispatch, and a large presence in the schools. Centerville residents know they can depend on the Centerville Police Department. We have a great staff. Our finance, planning, and economic development departments are led by professionals Jonathan Hudson, Andrew Rodney, and Nathan Cahall. Doug Spittler, Public Works Director, Jim Brenniger, City Engineer, had a tremendously busy year, 16 and 17, and it isn't going to change this year. 18 will be no less busy. The city's commitment to improving infrastructure and its roads and annual street and sidewalk repair programs will be well managed by both Doug and Jim. Maureen Russell Hodson, our volunteer coordinator, Kristen Gottman, assistant to the city manager, Karen Andrews, our clerk of council, Randy Bishop at Benhams Grove, and Scott Lieberman, our law director, promote and represent the city in a professional manner every day. Our head golf pro, Stephen Marino, and director of food and beverage, Jason Pyrie, plus the whole staff at Yankee Trace deserve a tremendous amount of credit for their work in making that a successful venture. And it goes without saying that all of Centerville's employees are out there every day taking care of Centerville's business. We have a great strength in our employees and the staff. We appreciate all the hard work. We know it's hard to get here Monday, and after a long day on Monday, to be here Monday, you make our job as a council members very satisfying and very enjoyable. I want to take just a quick look back at 2017 before we head into 2018. There were over $250 million of new private construction in the city of Centerville, and more than 17 road miles of concrete and asphalt repair which took place by our Public Works Department. The road miles went way up in 2017, and that was as a direct result of the passage of Issue 3 by Centerville voters in 2016. There were 70 new businesses that located in the city in 2017. Cross Point Center was where part of those new businesses took place. They added commercial locations and a new restaurant while continuing to provide a first-class center for the city of Centerville. Cornerstone continued to expand as new restaurants were added in this also first-class development. And in 2017, the study for the redevelopment of the Centerville Place Shopping Center was adopted by council. So what's ahead for Centerville in 2018? As Wayne mentioned, we have our 5-year strategic plan. We started on that within 2 months from when Wayne first came on board as the city manager. As he mentioned, we have 6 different categories: economic development, planning, finance, infrastructure and housing, core services, and technology. All of those are crucial to the success of Centerville. This document has been worked on by council, Wayne, and city staff, and is close to its completion. The 5-year strategic plan will guide Centerville policy and budgets and give us a gauge as to how these policies have been implemented and their success. Mark often refers to the dashboard of success for the city, and Wayne is implementing that, and the council is implementing that in our 5-year strategic plan. The city is going to invest more than $4 million in its street and sidewalk repair and replacement program to be worked on by the Public Works, along with adding bike and pedestrian pathways this year. There's a couple of the Public Works, and they do a tremendous job, and that's a picture of the staff of Public Works. 2018 will see another expansion with the Miami Valley Hospital South. They have a $60 million expansion, which they're going to complete and should be ready by the fall of this year. That's a spine and joint center, and they're also coordinating that with a Pure Healthcare Center in partnership with the Ohio Hospice. Graceworks is in the midst of its $42 million expansion and improvement of its Centerville campus at Bethany Lutheran Village. And Cornerstone this year will see the completion of the new Home to Suites by Hilton, along with new major developments and work on the interior roadway for new residential and commercial development. That development's going extremely well. I just want to mention a special thanks goes to Bob Geyer, who is the Greene County engineer. He's been a longtime friend of Mr. Beals for his work in getting the new traffic signal installed at Wilmington and Brown Road. He did a great job, and that's a crucial signal for that, a safety signal in that area. So, Mr. Geyer, we appreciate your help in that. We have new single-family developments near and in Yankee Trace, which expect to be breaking ground this year, which will bring new single-family housing options to the city of Centerville. There's a commitment that Charles Sims Development made and Randall made in bringing those to the city. 2018 will also, and started in 2017, but there will be new upscale multifamily developments open and worked on, such as the Allure on the former Showcase Cinema site, along with the development at a place near and dear to Belinda's heart, Chardonnay, with now known as the Lofts. Look forward to those developments coming forward in the year and the years to come. Again, both of these add new housing options for all family needs to Centerville. The addition of these developments show that Centerville is a place where top-notch developers want to be and invest millions of dollars in our community, adding housing and jobs. Their confidence to develop here shows they recognize that Centerville is a great place to be. Council is very supportive of the AP district and the heart of Centerville. We recognize that this is a significant historical district to our community, and this area has been a major discussion point in Centerville's strategic plan. This AP district will continue. We want to make sure that it flourishes and assist in the process. It's hard when you're dealing with an historical building. We want to assist in that process. And as Wayne mentioned, 2018 will also see the new fiber optic network installed. Joanne Rao is the chairman of the Miami Valley Communications Council, and this is a project that they've been working on. And this project will link most of the communities in our area with high-speed internet service, giving us an additional economic development tool for business to locate here. And again, this summer, we'll bring great entertainment with Heart of Centerville gatherings on Fridays, the outstanding summer concert series at Stubbs Park, and other offerings by the Centerville Arts Commission. And we do not want to forget that the 50th year celebration, there will be activities going on all year, which will culminate on December 2nd, 2018. The city website and Marine is very helpful at providing information. Ask any of us about all that's available. Council will continue to work with city staff on the interaction and communication between Centerville's government and our residents and their neighborhoods as the city updates its website and its IT systems. We were existing off an old system for a long time, and staff has been working on that for some time to bring in this new up-to-date system, and it's going to be very helpful, because the central commitment as a council has always been that Centerville's strength resides in its neighborhoods. And just on strictly a financial note, and one that all the city should be very proud of, Yankee Trace Clubhouse and the golf course will be paid off in full this year, years early. This $266 million development raises over $7.8 million in property taxes for public service, of which the city of Centerville is very low on that list, but the schools receive over $4.4 million every year go to our Centerville schools. So as a member of Centerville Council, and now as mayor, I see and have the honor to work with council members who are dedicated to Centerville. You saw their background and their commitment to the city. The thoughtfulness and professionalism that each bring to their role as a council member is outstanding. Our deliberations about issues are addressed fairly and completely, and when a decision is reached, it is acted upon as a whole body. It is a privilege to work with them. Council and staff know that there will be, and there are difficult challenges facing the city. The continuing drug epidemic that grips this part of the country, the continued undermining of local government authority by our state legislature at the behest of the governor, and a reduction in the monies the state sends back to us, which led to the direct result of needing Issue 3 to pass. We recognize that those are problems that we simply are going to have to face head on. However, with your support and the support we receive from city staff, volunteers, our community partners, we are confident as a council that 2018 will be another successful year for Centerville and establish and continue the long-term success of this city. So as we celebrate Centerville's 50th year as a city, we owe a great deal to the thousands of citizens who guided our city along this remarkable journey to this date. Those who organized our schools, our park district, our library, and provide safety services to a growing community. And those in our community who volunteered on city boards and commissioned and as elected officials. You have all been indispensable to Centerville's success. We thank you all. And this is a picture of, that's J.V. Stone when he was mayor, when he was elected mayor in '79. He took over in 1980. Marilyn McLaughlin, who was our city clerk for 40 years. Mike Taylor, just to the right of Marilyn McLaughlin. That's Shirley Hines, who became the mayor in 1984. I believe that's Leonard Stubbs, who the park is named after, on the far right. Jeff Seiler on the far left, and Russ Sweetman between Jeff Seiler and Nora Lake, who served for many years as head of the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. I know I speak for all of us on council that we are honored and humbled to be elected by our neighbors, our friends, and our fellow Centerville residents. We will work hard to keep the tradition that those before us started so that there will be an even bigger celebration on the 100th in 2068. So we thank you for your support. May God bless the city, all of you who work for it, all of us in our community in the United States of America. Thank you very much, and that concludes our State of the